Welcome back to another episode of Connecting Over Coffee. And today we're going to be talking about one of the most beautiful places in the world, aka its name is Praha, aka Prague. And here to talk about it is my friend Dwayne, fellow traveler, musician.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those things.
All them things. Just to start, what was the first what was the first stamp on your passport?
That was Honduras.
That's right, because you're Honduran.
The first spot I've been to, yeah. It was a while back. I can't remember what date, but
like you were young, right?
Yeah, child. And yeah, I mean, we used to go there every summer, so I just have a bunch of stamps from there. But yeah, that was the first place ever, and then I guess in Europe, the first one was Germany. So
sweet.
Frankfurt.
What would you say is the most beautiful place you've been to? I know we just like totally introed Prague. Is that? But you never know. I put it up high. I know. I did. I put it up high.
Yeah. I think that's the spot. That's just that Prague.
All right. Well, going into it then, since it is like one of the most beautiful places in the world, how did you go about planning that trip?
Well, I bought this ticket like probably 3 weeks before I was going.
Now, did you were you specifically aiming to go to Prague and or were you aiming somewhere else and it was like, oh, Prague is just there, so let me.
Yeah, I was, it was like I was kind of down on my spirits, if that makes sense. Like a lot of weird stuff was happening, like, you know, people passing away that were close to me and everything like that. And, you know, I just wanted to get away from the States or just my job for like a good week. So I was like, let me just go maybe back to Germany, see my cousin. But I was like, no, let me just try something totally different. I like the spontaneity of just being in a different spot, you know, like I don't know about. And I was asking around people at my job, and they're like, oh, try this spot. It's super far, like Vietnam, they wanted me to go to, or, you know, like Asian spots. I was like, yeah, but a week's worth, I'll waste like 3 days. So
yeah, just traveling.
Yeah, so then I was like, you know, I've heard about Prague, you know, and I watched some videos. I'm like, oh, this place is beautiful as hell, you know. I checked out this guy on YouTube named Honest Guides, I think his name is.
Honest Guides?
Honest Guides, yeah. And he's from Prague, so he shows you like the ins and outs of it and what not to check out, blah, blah. But I didn't really read too much into it. Like, I didn't know much about Prague. I was just like, I hear a lot of college kids go to there, you know, traveling. So I'm like, oh.
Because it's like one of the cheapest places to get a drink.
Yeah, I'm like, cheap. You got my ear.
You sold me.
Yeah, exactly.
Going.
So it was that in Budapest that I was just like, okay, they're both very cheap and really, really nice looking from the photos. I was like, didn't really have high expectations. I was just like, let me just go, just get away.
That's funny.
And it blew my mind. So.
There you go. How long were you there for?
Only 9 days.
9 days. How long were you in Prague?
Oh, just Prague. That was 4 nights and then an extra day because I had to come back for it was a round trip, so I had to come back from Budapest there.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So wait, so then you went from Germany to Budapest and then?
Oh, no. It wasn't. It was only Prague, Vienna, Budapest, and then back to Prague.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and then back to Germany or back to the States from Prague?
No, well, Germany I went 2 years ago.
So it wasn't in this round when you went?
No, I always wanted to go to a new spot. I didn't want to come back to any.
Gotcha. I thought you went to visit your cousin.
Oh, no.
And that's why. And then you were like, okay, I'm going to visit him and then I'm going to go to Prague.
That was the first plan, but I was like, you know what? No.
Okay.
No, I want to.
You're just going to go straight
be
there.
Alone. Yeah. It was like a solo trip, and I made so many friends doing it. It was just like, wow, people are so open to talk.
But that was your first time traveling alone too, right?
Second.
Second time?
Yeah, 2 years ago is when I did that whole thing after college. Right when I graduated, I was like, I'm out. 3 weeks.
To Paris.
Yeah, that whole
got it. I
western side. But I was like, let me check out Central Europe. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, there's something about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
It feels like underrated, you know.
It is, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I actually find that like places that are underrated actually they're preserved a lot better than like other places.
And I've heard, I think Prague wasn't hit during the war, so all their old relics and everything are still intact. Like the buildings weren't attacked or anything. So all the old history you can like check in Prague
And then see,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's beautiful.
Hmm.
But yeah.
How long? What were your accommodations like? Like, where did you stay while you were there?
So I stayed in Hostel 1 Miru. I highly recommend it. Man, it's like a family there, you know? Just like everyone's just like so nice and just want to, like you meet people from Canada that work there and people from like Australia that work there. So everyone's kind of like random spots. So you get different perspectives for sure. And yeah, it's super clean. That's what attracted me to it.
Yes, it's
Man,
that is the most super important thing.
Before I was like, oh, I like the name of this hostel, so I'm gonna pick it.
Oh,
or like,
no!
you know, the photos look nice, but if you look at the reviews, they really tell you what's good and what's not. Yeah. So
that's also a really important tip. If you're looking at hostels, read the reviews.
Hostelworld.com.
Yes, that's what I use too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's amazing. Were you in a mixed dorm then?
Yeah, mixed dorm. I was supposed to be in a one that was just for men. Mm-hmm. And I got there and someone took my room. Like they took 2 beds for some reason. I don't know how it worked.
Okay.
So they put me in like a mixed dorm after. It was like way bigger and like more space. So I'm like, okay, fine with this.
How many people were in the room with you? Do you remember?
At the time, that was because it's always changing. So it was like at the time, I think it was 8 people.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all females. I was the only guy there. So, yeah, that's
slightly ideal.
yeah.
Depending on your preference,
yeah,
your
for
orientation,
sure.
slightly ideal.
For sure.
Do you remember how much it was? Like, was it expensive?
Yeah, I think I paid like $22 a night.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I was just like, man.
Was it in the heart of the city? Because I actually don't. I mean, I'll have to like look it up after this, but I don't know.
It was like 2 train stops to the main center, so it wasn't far at all. I think it's like good to get away from tourists. You know, a good spot to just chill at. So.
And is that how you got around the city? You took the metro?
Yeah, and you don't have. Well, I shouldn't say this, but I mean, like, I didn't pay for the transit.
You did not.
I did not, and no one else did. They would just walk in.
No, yeah, you do. You pay for it.
I know, but like, what are the odds of like them checking?
This guy wants to get like deported.
I did the same thing in Germany. I was like, oh, you're on. There's no turnstile.
They work on an honesty system. Yeah, well, but like they do have. That would be my luck. I'd be the one that's like, oh, I won't pay today, and then I get. Well, then
if I get checked, I'd be like, I don't understand. I'm American. I don't, I'll pull that card.
Don't pull that card.
Come on.
This guy.
Like, why not? But yeah, it's just like that was the same for that in Vienna, but Budapest are very strict.
Yeah.
Like I noticed, like right when you get there, there's like a big old guard. I'm like, okay, I'm paying. Yeah. I'm just gonna,
don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah, they're very strict over there. But
oh my god. Well, that happened to me in Poland with my friend Gary, and it's just but that's only because we really we looked.
Yeah.
We did not find. We were like, how do we pay for this tram? And so we were like, they're like, just like don't get caught. But luckily it was. I mean, we walked pretty much everywhere. The tram was like a one-off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We just didn't chance it because we're like, we don't even know how to pay for it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
We're not gonna chance it. But oh my god. But so besides taking them, did you just like walk everywhere then?
Yeah, for the most part, walking. But I mean, it was like I was kind of in a hurry for a lot of things, so I had to take the train. Yeah. But the buses and trains, they're always on time too.
And they're super easy there.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Super easy.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, and clean too. I feel like. I mean, and the stations are just like dope looking. Like
exactly.
Like color coded and stuff. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like modern.
So dope.
It's like, yeah, actually it's sort of funny how that is, because like the above world is super antiquated and old looking, and then they go down below and it's like modern.
I wonder, like, do they have like parties down there too? Like, I'm sure like that'd be like...
No, that'd be so awesome. I would want to go to
like how like a ruin bar is, where it's like downstairs, like,
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. What were your thoughts going into it? Like when you were like, okay, I'm gonna book this ticket. Like,
I was scared. I was just like,
yeah?
I was thinking like, is this really a good idea? Like, I mean, because everyone knows about Paris and like, all these other places in the western part. So I'm like, okay, like I know I'm gonna have a great time. But it's like when I hear Central Europe, I easily think of like Eastern Europe, and I start thinking of like, oh, communism and like all this other stuff. So
like
I had like
and stuff
I had like a not so good insight into like what Prague was or something. So I was like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna be more rude over there, or like is there racism, or But I never experienced anything bad at all. I don't know. But it was the same with like when I went to Barcelona, and then you went and you had a bad time. And it's like,
it's not like, I don't know. I like I said, I had different expectations for it because everybody was just like, oh, it's such an amazing place. You're gonna love it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna love it. And then me and Alba, my cousin Alba, we get there and it was like third world looking, which is fine. But it was not what we were expecting. And it was just a little jarring to kind of go in with this expectation of just like different kinds of architecture. And then like, boom, I don't know. Maybe it's just where we were walking. I mean, we eventually found beautiful architecture, but it felt like the beautiful architecture was to be found in only touristy places. But the moment you leave the touristy spots, not that sexy anymore. And for me, what qualifies as like a really beautiful city is when you can go outside of the most touristy areas and still be able to like find the beauty.
Definitely. Like I've heard when they're doing the that's the World Cup? No, the Olympics for Brazil, and they had the favelas blocked off because they didn't want to show people like the bad parts of it. But like it's just like, yeah, you have to have like, I don't know, if it's a great spot. Not I'm not shitting on Brazil. Like I know, you know, like I know it's still beautiful, but I'm just saying like if the government is like kind of only appeasing to tourists and not just the whole country in total, you can tell. And you're like, all right.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do want to see the favelas.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the weirdest thing, but I really
like how the buildings are on top of each other.
Yeah, I just think there's something fascinating, even though it's like not so great.
Yeah. So much corruption, but hey.
True.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
We're talking like politics all the time.
Corruption in politics and travel.
Right? Go hand in hand. Yeah.
How was the food in Prague? Did you get to try a lot of food?
Yeah, I mean, most of it was like mixed because they're kind of centered. So they'll have a lot of things that are like, Middle Eastern, and then you get like Western stuff too. So it's a good mix. But someone told me about Usadu, which is a local spot, and they have like really good like tenderloin beef tips that they like. That's like one of their delicacies. I can't remember the name exactly, but I got that and I was like, wow, it's like so tender. It's like, man, that's real meat. That's like you can tell there's no chemicals or anything weird put to it.
True, like organic beef type of thing.
Exactly, and they added like these little, what are they called? It's one of those things where you forget like the name, even though I had it like all the time. But it's like these pancake looking things with like bacon inside of them, like on the side, and they put like a bunch of gravy over it, and just like, it's a lot of carbs, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So.
Was it expensive or?
No. So they use koruna, I think it's the name of the currency, and it's about like 22 to $1. So
okay, I see. 22 korunas to $1.
So like most of the food was like, I would say like a big plate was like $7-8.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I wish I was like that
like,
in America.
Yeah,
exactly.
I could do this.
And the of course the drinking is very cheap also.
I heard, that was it's one of those places, because I don't really drink too much, but I know that it's one of those places where the water is more expensive than the beer and the wine and stuff.
And it's like, I was in a club and I asked for like the tap beer, and they were like, yeah, it's 50 koruna. I'm like, oh, it's $2, like pretty much. Excuse me?
Amazing.
Give me alcohol
just
poisoning.
Keep it coming.
Right.
Here's a 20.
Right. I'm not going home.
I'm not going home conscious today. Well, speaking of korunas, actually, and I realized I forgot to ask this, but like, how do you go about converting your money, your currency?
I heard that, going back to the honest guy thing, he was saying that like pretty much Prague is really well versed when it comes to debit or credit card. Like most places take it. So I was like, since I'm going and hopping from different places that use different currencies, like I wasn't gonna exchange. So I didn't really use the cash for that. But when I went to Budapest, I was like, hey, let me just get that, and I made the mistake
of the ATM.
Yeah, getting like $500 out of like
from the lowest denomination.
Exactly.
That's
they mix it up so people would take more money out. Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any difficulties while you were there? Like in Prague?
I don't know, cause like most of the time I would hang out with people that worked there, so they'd be more well versed in it. But what did I?
Yeah, that's
no
fine.
Difficult. It's like saying goodbye. Yeah.
I can see
I'd
that
say-
because you make friends and it's like,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
hard to say goodbye.
I mean, we keep in contact on Instagram and stuff, but it's just not the same vibe. And just like meeting new people too, and like seeing people that are very shy one day and the next day they're just like so open to people, and just like I don't know, it's exchanging cultures are just like the best thing. So like going back here, I'm like, all right. I mean, New York is a good blend of culture,
Yeah,
but
I'll say.
once you're there like for your whole life, you're like, all right, like you want to
Time
see something.
new
Yeah,
places,
exactly. So
Time to meet some new people, fresh faces.
I know that was like a cheap answer, but it was just like I didn't really
No,
have
it's actually
difficulties.
totally valid. I've actually experienced that too. Like
Okay.
where I've made new friends in like new places, and even though I've only met them and gotten to know them for like 2 or 3 days, I actually like super bonded with them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the great thing is when I don't know how it is because yours is still pretty fresh because you just went like a couple of months ago or something, right?
Yeah.
But like for me, some of those relationships still like because we bonded, we're still friends to this day.
Yeah.
And like I've seen these same people in other parts of the world and here in New York too. So we just kept in contact and we're still friends.
It's beautiful,
and,
yeah.
but it's those kind of bonds, and I always feel terrible. I don't want them to leave, and I don't want to leave, and I just want to keep spending time with them and just hold on to that moment just a little bit longer.
And like they're so some people are very open to just talk about like just like when you
skip the small talk.
Yeah, we're like sometimes when I don't know, like when you're meeting someone from Britain, and like we would talk, and then of course politics comes out of nowhere, but it would be more like lighthearted, like they'll make fun of like us because of Trump, and then we'll like make fun of them because of Brexit, and then we'll go back and forth. But it's like no one gets too serious. It's just like, oh, we know we're both like kind of screwed, but let's just have a good time and drink over it.
Yeah.
It comes. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I find that a lot of people that do travel, they tend to be more like open-minded and not so like rigid, and
Definitely.
so, I mean, you have to be because you're meeting all these kinds of cultures.
There has to be a correlation between people who are just like more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're not that open-minded, they're closed-minded, like they don't travel much outside because they don't really see, the stereotypes aren't really true, what
It's
people
hard.
perceive. Yeah, the media
It's hard
really.
to break that too, like when you, because the whole thing about being closed-minded is that you're afraid to be open-minded. You're afraid to like let something in, something that you're afraid to be uncomfortable.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so like it doesn't matter what it is. Like if you are afraid of like gay people, it's because you're uncomfortable. You don't know enough about it, and so you're uncomfortable with it, and you're afraid to like open up and be like receptive to that kind of I guess community or something.
Definitely.
Would you say that going around Prague, like you felt safe?
Yeah,
I heard that like it's one of those types of places because there's so much tourism that there's a lot of pickpocketing and stuff like that. So like
I didn't experience that at all.
I haven't either when I went.
Like we would party every night. So I would always
perfect way to like get pickpocketed if that was the case. So
exactly.
If you didn't, I mean that's
good.
I
mean like most of the spots we went to wasn't that far, so I was good. But I remember just getting back like 3 a.m. or something, and we would eat KFC. And then like head back and like
KFC is the quintessential European.
I don't know why is that?
Late food. I don't know.
What's up with KFC?
Everybody like it's just the thing.
Is the campaign like really good over there?
I don't know. Like they have like it's like this like it's a craving. It's a legit thing.
Yeah, 'cause I don't really watch.
I don't eat it here.
I know Popeyes. Their advertisement here is very big. The Louisiana Fast,
I mean, I really like Popeyes.
Yeah, they're up.
Like in a comparison to KFC Popeye
Obviously.
ratio, I pick.
That's why I'm like, you guys are missing out on
time.
some Popeyes. You should get some
I'm
Popeyes.
like, we need to send Popeyes over there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can eat that late night food at Popeyes.
Exactly. But yeah, like we would go there and then after just head back to the hostel and like never see anyone that's looked sketchy. Like if they tell that you're a foreigner or anything, foreigner, they might like put up the price or something. You can
oh, that's so true.
Like in the city center.
Like in the cabs, like if they tell that you're a foreigner and they'll jack up the prices for the cabs. So don't take a taxi in Prague.
Yeah.
And I felt that too because I think I paid like $5 for a pizza that was like, when I was there in Prague, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think this is worth $5,
right.
but okay. If I was a new visitor to Prague, like I'm fresh and I've just never been there before, what would you say is like one thing that I need to see, eat, and do?
Riverside Tour, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Number one, man. That, I mean, because like I'm not a fan of tours. Like I did it in Budapest, and I was like, all right, you just tell me what I can read in the textbooks, whatever. But like this guy, he was like a straight comedian. Like we met at a bar, and we get like free drinks at the bar first, and then we meet this Australian guy. He's like making fun of everyone, you know. He's like, oh, where are you from? Oh, that, like, no wonder, like, you're probably a murderer because you're from Chicago. So,
yeah.
You know, like, you know, making fun of people. So he made fun of everyone that was there, and he's making fun of himself. And then he talks about, like, he's very factual, you know, he gives good facts about the city. And we'll go around the whole time. He has like, these two other guys carrying sangria and beer, so we get to just drink while we're walking.
Like boozing you guys up.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, we got you.
Yeah, and it was just like such a cool vibe. Like he was so chill, and we got to make stencils of like our initials or whatever you want to make. Then we go past the Charles Bridge and into the John Lennon Wall. Mm-hmm. And if people don't know really much about John Lennon, it's like pretty much, I don't know when this was, but
I remember actually.
Okay,
I remember the story.
Probably know more
it was
about.
So right before the Velvet Revolution, which was in 1989, John Lennon. They literally it was really started as a graffiti. Some like the revolutionists, they painted on the wall, I think in a peace sign, and just wrote the word "imagine," like after John Lennon's "Imagine All the People." And that just became like a symbolic wall for just peace and unity in the Czech Republic. And pretty much kind of, I think that it was more than the Czech Republic that was under like the Russian commune.
Probably.
It was like a big thing. But it was called the Velvet Revolution because it was a revolution where I think no one really died. It was a very soft transition, and that's why it was called the Velvet Revolution.
Wasn't it like students or something that were attacked by the police though?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody like seriously died.
Oh, okay.
I know that monks killed themselves, but they weren't like
attacked.
Shot or attacked. It like I remember that being the thing, that it was like that's why it was like velvet, 'cause it's super soft.
True, but like I think they were saying like they were going back and forth between like putting graffiti and then the cops would cover it up.
Yes,
and then one day they just gave up.
They don't want revolution, like they don't want people to implant like ideas or have a symbolic thing for people to kind of rally behind. Like they were trying to keep their control.
This is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so that's why that John Lennon Wall became such a big thing. And I mean, when I went, you can still see Imagine. I don't think you can see it anymore.
It's all over the place. Everything is like.
But now it's like, but you can see people like still scribbling. So I'm assuming that's what you guys did.
Yeah, we got to put our own stuff up there. That was so dope. Like I have a photo. It's on my Instagram, but probably tag it here or something.
Yes. We'll put it
I put my initials and I put like a thought bubble, whatever, and like I'm acting like I'm thinking of mine. But I'm like, I think about like I'm thinking of my name. That makes no sense. But anyways, I put that up there, and hopefully it's still up there, you know. And this guy is like playing a bunch of John Lennon songs. He's like, this guy happened to be there. It was cool. And then after we ate meat pies, and then went to a club.
Nice.
And just like.
Was the tour? Did you have to pay for the tour?
Yeah.
Or was it a free walking tour?
We had to pay for it, but it wasn't much. I think like for all the stuff we did, it was totally worth it. Like the drinks and everything included. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So Riverside Tour for sure.
Okay, so that's to do. Where would you say, if I'm new to Prague, where do I have to eat?
For eating, like I said before, Usadu.
Okay.
Usadu 6. That's like where all the locals go. And it's just really good deals on food. If you like a lot of meat in your food, that's where to go.
Oh snap! Okay,
Yeah.
So it's like a churrascaria type of thing, like a. Have you ever had a churrascaria? No.
That sounds that complicated.
Oh no! We have to take you.
Okay. All right.
Churrascaria. That's all they do. It's just like meats, like marinated meats and all kinds.
All right.
It's just like yummy.
Yeah.
It's super yummy.
Yeah, I don't even know how to say that. Churrascaria.
Churrascaria.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
that it's like that.
Thing.
Yeah,
it's like that. We got lots of meat.
For sure. So that I would say for food, that's like go-to.
Okay, and do? It's like the one thing I should do if I go.
I would, of course, go out at night. There's, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was a beer garden in Prague. It oversees like all of Prague, pretty much. Like it's a great view.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I feel bad for not knowing where it's at, but
I'm sure it's only like one of them that's on like a
probably
rooftop type of thing.
There's just like a nice climb, and then you get there, and just like it's beautiful.
I will look it up and link it below, so that way people can
for sure
check that out.
And for if you want to go like clubbing or something, I would recommend Rodast, Rodast. They have a lot of good hip hop and R&B. I was surprised. I thought it was like, because that's another stereotype that was in my head. Like, oh, when I hear European, I just think of like EDM or like techno.
Oh.
And like they know their hip hop music. Like, as a hip hop fan, I'm like, okay. They
got this.
They had the throwbacks. They brought the new stuff. It was like a good mix. Yeah, they're killing it. So, yeah, and it was like, I guess because I was the only black guy in the hostel, I was like exotic to people. So like,
that's sexy.
I wouldn't say all that, but I'm saying like I was I guess I was a better dancer than the other guys.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're like, oh, you got to go on stage. You got to go up on the stage.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did?
mean, I was drinking, so of course.
You're like, I was drinking, so I did.
So yeah, I got up there.
Thing.
I was dancing up there, and they were like, I'm probably on a bunch of people's Snapchats or something. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like with the DJ people, and like, I get off, and they're like, oh, how'd you learn that dance? Like, it's just a two-step. Like, it's not that big a deal, you know? But like, yeah, like they were just like very interested in like my dance moves and just like the style. But it's like, I'm like the worst dancer in my group of friends. So it's like,
I don't think so.
I think so.
I think you can
I mean, I hang out with like a lot of
You can
Trinidadian and like Guyanese people. They know.
Oh, I see. No, that's a different kind of
Caribbean
like,
people.
nah,
like
that's like I felt the same way. Like I went to here in New York. I went to a Caribbean club and I thought I had reggae skills, and then I realized I didn't.
You're like, I'm gonna go home.
I was like, I'm gonna watch and learn.
Exactly.
I'm gonna learn today.
Yeah, it was great.
If I wanted to meet locals in Prague, there's like, what would you suggest for that?
Locals. Man, for local people, I would say anything outside of the city center. So, where I was staying at, that was a very local spot. There wasn't much, like, it's only 2 hostels there, but mostly it was just like, I was kind of lost in translation. So I would say something like, I don't understand. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm really in it, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say, I can't remember exactly where to stop, but it's like literally 2 stops from the museum area. Just anywhere away from there. Just go to any restaurant and just like chat with people. They're down to talk, you know, they're not standoffish.
So don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Come on. Just have a nice attitude, be humble, and you're good to go. So. Every
time you say be humble, I think of like a Kendrick Lamar song.
Just sit down, you know.
Just sit down and be humble.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's all I gotta say for that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna take us into our lightning round questions.
Oh.
So, yes, I need the iPad for this one. First answer that comes to mind. Don't even hesitate, because people hesitate all the time. Okay. Don't think, just do. Ready? Okay. Prague or Barcelona?
Prague.
You're like, nah, that's not even a thinker. Cruises or flights?
Flights. I've never been on a cruise.
Spanish or Italian cuisine?
Spanish.
Book or a movie?
Movie. I'm sorry.
I'm like, that's just the way it is.
I like seeing things.
Map or Google Maps?
Google Maps.
Traveling alone or with friends?
Traveling alone. Well, I never travel with friends. So.
No?
No.
You always met people along the way.
Yeah.
Because I always think they're your besties. Like, no lie, like, I see his feed and I'm like, oh, those are people he really knows.
Met him like 2 hours ago.
No, yeah, because the way you, like, your chemistry with them, it makes me think, like, oh, he, like, met up with friends and, like, he knows them. Like, that's the vibe I got, every time.
Never like that. Never like
that.
I'm
gonna keep that in mind. Mr. Softy or Gelato?
Mr. Softy.
That's the New Yorker coming out.
Yeah, come on.
Dry or sweet wine?
Oh, dry.
Window seat or aisle?
Window.
Window. Cappuccino or latte?
Latte.
Globetrotter or world traveler?
World traveler. Globetrotter. Nope, that sounds way cooler.
Globetrotter sounds way cooler.
Okay, you might be a basketball player, or you might be a person traveling around the world.
You be versatile.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, we'll let you guess. We'll be mysterious.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. These guys are serious. I like it.
You can't predict this.
You got the answers. Yeah.
Museum or street art?
Street art, for sure. I took more photos of that than the museum.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that.
Van Gogh or Picasso?
Van Gogh.
Okay. Well, that is literally the last
Boom.
question I have for the lightning round. Thank you so much for
Anytime.
being here and just spending your time with us and telling us about Prague. 'Cause
Sure.
I feel like a lot of people might have questions and you might have answered some of them.
I mean, like, if you guys have more, I mean, just hit me up.
Yeah, just follow him.
Oh, yeah.
Tell him where to
me.
follow you.
Boom! I got the Instagrams slowly getting up there. You know, it's Dwayne.Bush_. Maybe it's over my head or something.
Yeah. Well, just over or
Edit
just
that.
under
Oh,
just down
throw it
below.
around. After
To the left,
Effects.
to the right.
There you go. I'm like hitting it.
You just pose it out.
Right. So I mean, I mostly use that barely on Facebook or anything. So that's the go-to spot.
Sounds good.
And and I make music, but I don't know if I should show
It's
people
true. He
that
makes
stuff.
music.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm confident enough to show it to people, but
If you follow him, you'll find the music.
yeah,
if that's what you're looking
exactly.
for.
Everything's in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's all together, so you won't miss it at
for
all.
sure. So, yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
Model.
Well, thank you again, and
Show
thank
me.
y'all for watching. Yay!
Take care.
And we'll see you next time. As always, stay safe and stay traveling. Hey, fellow travelers. I hope you liked that video. If there is a place or a city or a country you would like to know more about or you're thinking about visiting, please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, really, truly, check out our other videos. I think you might like them. And also, ring the bell because we release a podcast every other Monday, and then we'll be releasing some extra special content in between each podcast for you. Travel tips, travel advice, inspirational videos. We got lots of stuff. So, and we want you to be aware. We want you to be like the first to know. So definitely ring that bell and then hit the subscribe button, seriously, because we're awesome and you're gonna love this channel so much. So I'm gonna wait until you hit that subscribe button. Did you hit the subscribe button?